Welcome back to Assassin's Creed The Complete Story. So Assassin's Creed Unity is coming out shortly and I'm insanely excited. But I was looking through our playlist and I realized that Altair, the father of the Order, has not been explained. It's almost as if I was waiting for Unity to come out so that I can discuss the beginning of one of my favorite series. That's not what we were planning at all. So we all know the story, and if you don't, I'll inform you. The original Assassin's Creed was not considered a huge success. Plagued with repetitive gameplay, buggy parkour, and other issues, it was sound enough to warrant a sequel, but this first game was rather painful to play through if you're just trying to get into the series. So my question for you is, did you enjoy this game, or are you one of the many who just couldn't finish it due to its nature? Now, Altair was the father of the modern order, and he protected the artifacts that you must journey for in all of the games in this entire series for his entire life. But where did his journey begin? He was born to assassin parents, but he wouldn't get to know them as his mother was killed during childbirth and his father was assassinated at a young age. Altair's father Umar was friends with a man named Ahmed, and the two of them were partners and they assassinated a nobleman. But Ahmed was captured and he revealed that it was Umar who had actually made the kill. This is what led to Umar's murder, and as Ahmed was racked with guilt, he broke into Altair's house to reveal that it was him who had caused his father's death. He then committed suicide in front of the young Altair. Altair then ran to Al-Amim's home to explain the whole situation, and he was told to keep secret about the whole thing and not shame Ahmed's family over this. Altair then became greater friends with Ahmed's son Abbas after this, and the two boys would join the Assassin Order as neither child had a family now, and the Order would raise them. But Abbas couldn't get over his father's suicide that easily, and in an effort to console his friend, Altair revealed the truth of what had happened. Abbas would then challenge Altair to combat with swords under the guise of being trained to use them properly. But he would then express his hatred for Altair for hiding this information, and in order to try and make this better, Altair would actually claim that he had lied about the whole situation. This made Abbas even madder, and the fight escalated to the point where the Master Assassins were required to step in. The two boys would then be locked up in Masyaf's dungeon, and Altair would be released a month later to continue his training. But in order to help him get over his grief and anger, it was decided by the assassins that Abbas would stay there for a full year before he would be released. It was because of this that Altair would graduate to the rank of assassin ahead of his friend. His graduation to Master Assassin would come when Masyaf was attacked and overrun by Templars due to a double agent named Haras. He would then return to Masyaf to find it under siege, and Al-Malim would be captured, so he would personally go in to rescue Al-Malim while telling Abbas to attack from the flank. His mission was successful as he assassinated Haras, and he was rewarded with a promotion to Master Assassin. This would just cause further problems between Abbas and himself, as Abbas would not want to congratulate his friend, and instead he would spit at his feet, causing Altair to sneer in arrogance back at his friend. Now that he was a Master Assassin, he would be tasked with recovering the Chalice, an artifact that was known to empower whichever side uses it by uniting all of the armies underneath the owner. Altair's first location to search for was the city of Damascus, where he would then meet with the local Rafiq, who informs him that the merchant Tamir had connections with the Templars. Altair would then have to go through a few men before he could get to Tamir, but once he did, he learns that the Chalice is being kept in a temple of sand, and he's going to need 3 keys to enter it. He then kills Tamir. The first of the 3 keys is being kept by Fajira, a circus dancer who forces Altair into a fight with a circus brute, but once he's successful and catches up to her, he gets his hands on the first key. Altair then heads off to Tyre, where he teams up with a local assassin named Hamid. Hamid informs Altair that this key is being kept by the head of the hospital, Roland, and Altair quickly finds a route to the hospital through the sewers in which he eventually gets to Roland. He then kills him and takes the second key. The last location is in Jerusalem, where he learns that the key is being kept by a local Templar named Basilisk, who is normally in the palace with the king. Realizing that this is going to be one of the most difficult to obtain, Altair waits for the king to host a party and acquires an invitation for himself from a man who won't be needing it any longer. Using this party as a ruse, he gets closer to Basilisk, and he eventually gets into a mighty fight with him in which he gets the key from the man, but he's unable to complete his kill before having to leave. As the Templars aren't stupid, they realize that the assassins are trying to get to the Temple of Sand, and they attack one of the assassin agents, Hazid, who has the map to the temple before it can get into the hands of Altair. This causes another adventure to begin in which Altair has to infiltrate a Templar stronghold, and he faces off against high-ranking Templars, catapults, and he climbs a mighty tower. But eventually, he's able to get his hands on that map again by killing the Master Templar in charge of the entire stronghold. The map reveals the location of the temple, and not wanting to waste any more time, Altair heads straight there hoping to get to the Chalice finally. But once there, he discovers that the Templar forces are waiting for him. He has to fight his way through their forces and the guardians of the temple until he eventually manages to get to the Chalice room, where he finds an empty chest and Lord Basilisk. Altair demands that Basilisk gives him the Chalice, but Basilisk tells him the Chalice is actually a woman, while laughing at Altair's failed mission. Altair then flees the collapsing temple and heads back to Tyre to find Hamid. Basilisk also escapes, and he's the only one who has any clues to where Altair can find the Chalice. So, he breaks into another stronghold and manages to get right up to Basilisk, where they fight it out, and Basilisk ends up gravely wounded. Altair tells him that he will give him his life back if he tells him where the Chalice is being kept, and Basilisk agrees. Before Altair can track down the Chalice, he begins by infiltrating the Templar stronghold outside of the city, where he in disguise manages to work his way up to the Templar commander and kill another Templar commander. He then escapes the camp by catapulting himself into the city, where he manages to rescue the Chalice from the Templars finally. And it turns out that the Chalice is Adha, a woman from Altair's past that he once had feelings for. But it is from here that he discovers how the Templars have also been able to stay one step ahead of him. The second in command of the assassins, Haresh, has been paid off by the Templars and has been working for them. This is the second time that Altair is dealing with an assassin traitor, and it infuriates him. He decides that he's going to kill the traitor, and then he's going to flee this life with Adha, as they're going to live a happy life together finally. Altair manages to get to Haresh, and he assassinates him without any problems outside of a few bodyguards. But while he was distracted with this mission, Lord Basilisk kidnapped Adha. Altair couldn't get to her in time as the ship containing her and her kidnappers began to cross the sea out of his reach, though he did manage to get to Basilisk's ship before it left, and he killed Basilisk finally, giving him no chance to make a deal this time. As Altair watched the ship containing his love fade into the distance, he swore into the air that he would find her and be with her one day. Now this resolves one of Altair's storylines, but it's only one of many for the first great assassin. But if you're familiar with Altair and his life, then you may be wondering what happened to Adha, as we never hear from her again in any game or storyline. Well, it's revealed in Altair's codex that he began to chase her that very day, and he eventually caught up to her ship and killed her kidnappers. But sadly, they killed her before Altair could reach them. He wrote in the codex that he found her dead body, her face and her eyes locked in terror, and that was the last memory of her that he had. Even acting his vengeance on her killers didn't bring him any sort of satisfaction, and the memory of the one that he lost has haunted him forever. We'll be back soon with Altair's next great adventure, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did, please like, favorite, and share this video. Also, if you're planning to play Unity on the PS4, look up the Eligible Monster account and we'll make a brotherhood together. Lastly, I do want to apologize. I probably butchered a few of these names, and I'm really sorry about that, but you guys know I can't pronounce anything. I'm Benny for Eligible Monster, and I'll see you guys next time right here.